This is a Cowboys Report mailbag as we deal with the fallout from the Jerry Jones keeping Mike McCarthy decision. Corey says, I kind of want to see them rebuild this team. And I think this would have been, you're kind of, I think, too far late now, a better path than just running it back. I thought your real good options here were go aggressive with a new contract at head coach. I would argue is not Mike, because he wants to extend Mike right now. And then your best option at quarterback is Dak. I'm sorry if you don't like that. It is the truth. And go be aggressive for a 2 to 5, 2 to 4, whatever it looks like window. If you win, great. Keep doing it. If not, then you tear it down. At some point, you have to rebuild. You have to. And that's how football works. Everyone does it eventually. And if you wanted to go with the rebuild path, I get it. I would have been on board with it. I think it's a better path than this stay the course, do nothing path they seem to be on right now. Earl Arbogast, we go 16-0 next season and lose first round again. This is the worst timeline. You wouldn't get to be in the first round, but divisional round, first playoff game. It's the worst timeline. Kinetic, 3-12-5 seasons, 1 ring, appendix surgery, respect Mike McCarthy. I'm not saying he's a bad coach, to be clear. But it's not going to work. Now, he still can't manage the clock right. Been head coach for how long now? To be fair, a few of them actually can. He still wants to run the ball on 2nd and 10. He still wants to not use motion. So I'm not saying he's a bad coach. Just not good enough. I'm not being personal in my attacks. Like, frankly, some are. Rebuild. We aren't asking for much, Jerry. No more post-game pressers. No more rambling on the radio. In fact, no more media for you. Own, manage, and shut up. He can't. Steven can't either, by the way. That's why it's never going to get any better. King Bonzo. Ferguson was only saving grace for me this season. Fergie was really good. Lamb was really good. You had a bunch of really, really good players in the regular season. And Ferguson, I think, on offense was one of the guys who showed up throughout. And also why I don't understand why you didn't feed him the entire game. Because we said Bill game. They're bad over the middle. Seam balls to Ferguson. And they weren't calling that play. It just doesn't make sense to me. Massive Matt, no way, bro. I'm so over this team. I get it. I get the frustration and pain and everything that comes along with it. Because right now, I can't trust this team. I don't think many of you watching trust this team right now for frankly, several different reasons. But do you trust the Cowboys right now? And none of that, you have to get further than they have in 30 years to ever trust them again. There's no belief in this team, and frankly, nor should there be. But you guys can vote in the pinned comment. Y for yes, you do. N for no, you do not. Travis Smitty, not going to games or merch. They will make bigger mistakes next year than when we sign Dak to a huge contract. Honestly, you shouldn't even want to, if you're going to pay Dak, you can't wait till next year. He's going to be a free agent. It's going to be a bidding war that you have to win to keep him. That's not a path I want to go down. Honestly, if you don't pay Dak this offseason, you should just move on now. You're not going to be in good enough shape. You're just not going to be. Other teams probably will be. You won't be. Ryan Nelson, Tom, we have to admit Dak has no clutch gene. I totally get the upsetness at the playoff results and everything. Dak also doesn't play defense. That's the issue. The team didn't play defense either. Like you could have easily had, if your defense had done anything, a Jags-Chargers game. He threw for 400 yards. It was garbage time. It's fake stats. He played great against the Packers years ago. Played great against the Bucks. Played well against the Rams. Defense didn't show up. He's got a bunch of fourth quarter comebacks. He led 2 game-winning drives this year against playoff teams. But everything about this team chokes in the postseason. The head coach, the quarterback, the ground game. You had 9 All-Pros on this team. How many of them played well? Lamb dropped 2 passes early on. He's been so good. Where was Micah? Drew a holding call. Deron Bland in the secondary. People saying it was man. I kind of think it was zone. People saying it was zone. I think it was man. And the beats were so bad that it looked like zone as a result. You had 3 all-pro offensive linemen. Did they play like it? No. So yes, Dak gets blamed. I wish it was just one person. I truly do. Because then I can fix it. Because then I'd say, trade Dak, move on, do the Goff-Stafford trade, go find somebody else, go trade up for a top 10 pick, whatever, do that. It's not that simple. It's not even as simple as new defensive coordinator or get a linebacker. There's a lot more. And that's why you need real change, and keeping your head coach isn't going to bring you real change. It's just not. Now, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. It's daily fantasy made easy. 2 to 6 player stat projections, and do the flex play. Flex play delivers a lot better results than the all-in power play. My picks for the Niners-Packers game, which TBD if I will still watch, more than 266.5 passing yards for Brock Purdy, more than 51.5 receiving yards for George Kittle, and less than 7.5 rushing yards for Aaron Jones. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for that first deposit match up to $100. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Venom Snake. Jerry waited until after the Eagles to drop this. I mean, they were going to do it on Monday. But yeah. Drake Tom, I love you and the Cowboys fan base, but I can only support this garbage team and cloud organization. Been real. Brother, I'll be here. I ain't going anywhere. So if and when you want to come back, I'll be here. Brandon J. When has McCarthy ever been elite at scheming up the running game? If Dak gets big eyes in an important game like we know he will, how do you fix it? That's the issue here. Hope the defense got cut off is better. I've seen him also not get big eyes. But my core issue here, so I would agree that he got big eyes against the Packers. The entire team did, right? Like that's a coaching issue. The answer is never for the running game. And the defense, in terms of like shorter term picture, how do you win regular season games next year? I am more worried about your defense. Because this so-called elite defense, year and a half now of sample size, pretty big sample size. You're allowing almost 30 points a game against top 10 to top 15 efficient offenses. So the teams you play in the postseason are destroying you. That's an issue. So when it comes to Dan Quinn, because I know some of you guys want to get rid of him. I don't blame you. I don't know that Joe Witt just going to be your replacement. What are you doing with Dan Quinn? FQ for Fire Quinn, KQ for keeping him. The great Duke Bothers gets out of the way now. Here's a penny for every penalty the Cowboys will commit in 2024 due to bad coaching. Spend it wisely. I'm not going to do the math. Still might not be enough. I'm kidding. Thank you, great Duke Bothers. Mark, poll, who's worse? Biden as president, Jerry Jones as GM. I don't do politics here. I stick to sports on principle. I hate politics. Travis Smitty, trade Parsons to try to draft Caleb Williams. Not the first time I've actually seen this suggested. Is worth the conversation about. Okay, so you have a potentially new franchise guy. It does require a team that needs a franchise quarterback to say, because the Bears should not just roll with Fields, by the way, to say, let's just say the Bears say yes in the hypothetical scenario. Great. You now have Caleb Williams. You're doing whatever with Dak Prescott. You're still eating that bad contract. So you're still paying quarterback money, kind of like you did with Romo and Dak, by the way. And you couldn't do it because whatever bullshit. You're not going to spend money. You have now traded away your best defensive player. How are you going to get better on defense? I think we would all agree that defense isn't good enough as control. At least we should agree on that. So if you're trading away the best player to fix your quarterback issue, let's say you fix it, and let's say Caleb's him, how do you fix the defense? The Chiefs are great right now. It ain't because of their offense. Their defense playing lights out right now. Niners have a great defense. Another different quarterback money spot-wise, but shit, Mahomes made almost $40 million on the cap this year. My concern with this solution, it's a plan, and I appreciate it because you're trying something. How do you get better on defense? It is still a team sport. Quarterback's most important, gets too much blame, too much credit, but it is still a team sport. So when it comes to Dak, you have 3 options. Pay him right now and make the supporting cast better, because if you do pay Dak, by the way, it does free up a significant amount of more money. If you just want to rebuild, D for dump, and I am on board with it. I can't do nothing. If I do nothing, I'm setting myself up for failure. It's not going to work at all. You're going to be significantly worse, I fear. And you're just going to delay the inevitable. So if you pay him, you can go be aggressive in that 2 to 3 year window. 4 years, whatever the figure is. You dump him, you're rebuilding. Okay, cool. You do nothing. What are you going to do? Chris B., you know any names they were considering for head coach? They were linked to Belichick speculatively. They didn't really do it. Like at all. Austin. I'm going to keep the mistake of keeping McCarthy. If we taking that route and keeping Dak, what moves are you making to make us better? Who are you going after? Again, you have 2 paths, right? Go all in, which does mean an extension. I know you guys don't like that. I get it. But if you want to win games right now, that's how you do it. At that point, I can free up money. I can either give, frankly, you could literally, for this year's salary cap, you could extend Dak, pay CD, and pay Micah, and free up salary cap space. Like a pretty good amount of it, but by the way, like a significant amount of it. I'm looking like Azeez Al-Shaair at linebacker, helping me out there. I'm going to have a new plan at left tackle because I cannot trust Tyron Smith. If he wants to play great, incentive-based deal, I'm cutting Gallup. I'm filling all of my needs with at least passable players that are more than Chuma Adoga and Ronald Jones. And I'm going straight BPA, and I'm not taking Michigan man projects. How about that? Now, we'll do an ideal off-season video. You aren't going to like it. I can tell you that right now. Maybe we'll do an ideal win now and an ideal rebuild video. That might go over better. We'll have free videos for you guys every single day. Cut Candidates was going to go tonight. I delayed it. It was going to go tomorrow. It'll go this weekend at some point. Hit that sub button for more free Cowboys YouTube videos. Cammy Elf Gaming. Who is the premier option at DC with Quinn leaving? Who wants to take a job where the head coach is going to get fired after a year? Or is at least on the hottest seat in America? None of the good DCs are going to want to take the lame duck head coach job. So the solution is I'm going to take Joe Witt probably. And is that really going to fix anything? I don't think so. Or Dan Quinn comes back and we're just running it back with the same ship. From Joe, feel any different if Dak takes less? I mean, it depends on how much is less, you know? Like, of course, I think that it helps you. It really comes down to, hey, Dak, are you going to do us a big favor? Because that's what it'd be a big favor. Because there's also, how about this? I will broker everyone wants to take less, right? I will broker a negotiation of Dak will take less. It's never going to happen, but I'll do it for fun anyway. Dak agrees to take less. It is written into his contract that the difference must be spent on free agency. Because they did this when they didn't have Dak on a big contract at all, and they didn't spend money in free agency. So if they promised it in free agency, yes, let's ride. Go be aggressive. Would Jerry do it, though? I don't know if he would. I'd feel better about it. I think that makes the go now mode make more sense than the rebuild mode. But I'd prefer one of those two. And I feel we're not going to get either in the end.